So in this session, we are going to see how we create the registration and the login API. So for registration and login, we have to first create a user table. So right click on new table. Columns will be user ID, data type will be int, not nullable, primary key, and the auto increment. Then username, this will be varchar, length, let's say 50. This will be not nullable. Password, again varchar, let's say max 50. Created date, this will be date time. So these are the various columns we have. Let's click on save. User master. So we have created a table which is having 4 columns: user ID, username, password, and created date. Now next step is we have to create the model. So right click on model, right click on add and class. So this will be user master.cs. Click on add. Then we need to add the properties also. But before that, we need to join this. We have to link this particular class with our table using table attribute. Double quotes. We just need the namespace. That will be component data annotation. Then we have to provide our class name. That is user master. Right click, edit. It will go over here. Then we need all the properties, right? So like that, user ID. Let me just copy paste. Then username, password, created date. Now we have to specify the data type also. Username was of string. In database we have varchar, so here we have to keep the string. There we have date time, so here also we have to use the date time. Right? So we have created the all the properties, whatever the columns we have created the same properties over here. Now user ID was primary key. So for that in square bracket, we have to add key. Mention key, K will be capital, and we need to add the namespace. After that, database generated, round bracket, database generated option, dot identity. So that's it. Our class connected to this table is created. Now we need to add this to our DB context class. So as a DB set, so public DB set less than greater than. Then we have to create the object with S and getter setter properties. Right? So we have created model of that particular table. Then we have added that model into our employee DB context. Now let's create a controller. Let's say controller name will be registration. API empty controller. Registration controller we are creating. Right? After creating controller, we just need to add the route also. So that will be registration. Then we need the course. So for that, allow region we need to add. So let me just copy paste this. Now we just need a namespace for the course also. Right. So now first API we will need is register API. By using that API, user will be registering to our application. So public return type. Okay, before that we need to add the verbs. So HTTP post, then route. Route name will be registered in double quotes. Public return type will be our model name. So that will be user master. So we have to copy this, paste it over here. Now we will need namespace of this. So like this, add user, right? Again, we need to create the object of DB context. So for that, let me just copy paste the same thing, paste it over here. Now we just need to replace the class name of the controller. That's it. Now, what we need to do here, this is the post API. So with post API, we will be getting the object from the front end, right? So for that, and the object data type will be user master. So user master obj. Now we need to store this into the table. So underscore db dot user master dot add, and to add we have to pass object, so that is obj. Then underscore db dot save changes, right? So this is a normal logic we write when we have to when we have to insert the data into the particular table. Then we have to return the object. So this is nothing but our register API. Now, this is first part. Then let's try to integrate this in the Angular side so that we can test this API. So here I have the login page. There only I will create the registration page also. Let me run this NGS. Now here I will create one flag just to show and hide register flag. Okay, I have just created one flag, and this flag I will be using over on this form star ng if this is not registered, so I will show the login form. Otherwise, if it is true, I will show register form. Now, if you see the register form, so we need to create the object of user master, right? So these are the properties we have. So let's create the object on the Angular side, just like that login object. So this will be register obj colon any equal to curly bracket. User ID, it will be 0 with initialize. Then username, it will be empty. Then password, again it will be empty. And last one is created date. And created date, we need to send the current date. So we can say new date. Right. So our object is created. Now we need to bind this object to our form using ng model. So username dot register object dot username. This we have to just copy paste. Then again registered object dot password. We don't need to show this created date, or we don't need to create a control for that, right? Register. Like this on login, we need to create a register function. And here we have to write our API call. So to write the API call, first we need to create the object of HTTP client. So private HTTP colon HTTP client. Then in on-register function, this dot HTTP dot post method, because we have created a post API. You see the registration, we have created the post API, and URL will be like this. So this is my basic URL. Inside post, double quotes, URL slash, then my controller name. Controller name is registration slash my method name. Method name is register. So this will be my URL. Then with this, we need to send the object also. So this dot register object, then dot subscribe. Right. So we have created the API call function. So let's just save it. And this flag we just need to hide and show. So here I will just make it register. And on click of this, we just need to change that flag. So register equal to not of register. Sorry, not equal to. And same this thing I will be needing in the register form. In the register form, we have to navigate back to the login page. So I just have to use the same method. So let's check it. So our API creation is done. We just need to integrate that on the front end. So that's what we are doing. So after this, let's say login. Let me see what is the route. Login. Okay. So background color is something else. So you can see here we have the register button. So if I click on register, you can see register form is there. Let me just change the background. Form, background color. Yes. Let me just create this. Paste it over here. Form. Let's see. Still it is not applied. Not important. Yes. So you can see by default login page is visible. But if I click on register, you can see register page is visible. Again, if I click on login, the login page is visible. So now here we need to we will try to register the page. Let's just add the debugger over here. Let's say emp1 and password will be 112233. Now let me just open that particular component. We have this API call, click on register. So you can see in the object we have got it. Created date by default, it has taken the current date, password, whatever we have typed, username also it has got. Continue. Now we should get the debugger over here. Yes, so you can see we have got the debugger. Now if we see the object, whatever the detail we have sent from there, that we have got. So we just need to debug the code. F10, F10. Yes. So now in object, you can see user ID will be generated. Means data has been successfully inserted into the table. Let's check the database now. If I open this user master, so you can see data is inserted. Let's try to insert one more record. emp2 password will be 2233. Let's click on register, continue. Again, we have got the latest record, emp2 and 2233, continue. Let's check the table. Refresh. You can see two records has been inserted into the table. So register part is done. Now next is we have to create a login API. So let's stop this. Now we will create a login API. So login API again it will be post only because we need to send the user ID and username and the password. So it will be post only. It's not mandatory to create a post. You can create a get also, but you have to send the two parameters. So better we can create post API only. Login, right? Now public. Now we need to create a separate object of this particular model. So this is a model, right? I will just copy paste this and we'll create one more with different login model. I'm just creating an extra class and this I will be using for the login purpose. And here I will be adding two more properties. That will be, let me just add it. Property. First property will be Boolean. Result. And second property will be message with string. I will explain the use of this model. Now, this model we will be used to pass the data. So public, we will be returning this model, login, curly bracket, and this only model we will be receiving from the front end side, right? So we need to create an object of this particular model, which is having all this property, and we need to hit the login API. Now, whatever the user and password ID we will get, we need to check like this username and this password is there or not. So for that, where is user exist, then underscore DB dot user master. Now we need to write find, means single or default. So single or default is a query where by which we can check whatever the condition we pass, we can check it, right? Just like the simple find and filter method we use in the array in JavaScript side. So lambda expression m dot username equal to whatever the object we get, object dot username. And we need to compare username and password also, right? M dot password equal to obj dot password. So this will be my login query. This is simple. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to find a record where username is this and password is this, right? Then we can write if condition, if user exists is, if it found any record now, whatever the username and password we get, it will, this in user is user exist will have some data. If it doesn't found, it will return null. So that is the check we will be adding, not equal to null. If it is not equal to null, means it has found the data. Now we have to create object of this, or we can use the object only. Object dot, what we have to assign, user ID we have to assign. That will be from is user dot user ID. So we are just modifying whatever the data we have got. We have got the object, right? So I'm just modifying that. And username and password is already there. So I don't need to do that. So object dot, now this result property, I will send it as true over here. Object dot message, here will be login success. And in else block, if I don't found the record, if the user ID and password is wrong, so there I will be just changing these two properties. It will be result will be false, and here message will be user name or password is wrong. Whatever the message we normally get when we pass the wrong credential. Okay, and I simply have to return the obj, the same object what we have got. The object we have got, we are just modifying that. Now let's just add a debugger. Let's continue. Now, what are the properties we have over here? We just have to create the same object in the Angular side also. So in login component.ts, I had already this. So let me just create the properties. So user ID, username, then password, then result, and the last one is message. It will go over there. So we have created the exact object in the client side as well. Now we just need to bind this username in the login form, login object dot username, then password. So only two things we need to bind. Now, on click of login, we have this already function. So in this function, we need to write our API call. So let me just remove this. Let me just comment it out. So here what we need to do, we need to write the log, we need to call the API call. So this dot HTTP dot API is post only, double quotes. So this will be fixed part up to registration. Then only this method name will change. Our method name is login. So we have to put it over here. then we need to send the object. This is the post API. So this dot login object we will be sending dot subscribe round bracket inside round bracket result colon any equal to greater than. Now here we just need to add a, if you see here what we are returning the model of login object, and in login object we have certain properties. So if login is success, we are returning result as true, and if login is not success, we are returning result as false. So same check we need to add it over here. So if result means, let me just make it response. So response dot result, this is the property we will be getting. If it is true, we will just navigate it to somewhere else. Let me just navigate to this, and in else we will just show the error. The error we will be getting from API side only, so that only we will be used. So response, the error we will be getting on message property, this message, but just it will be in a small case, right? Here also we can show the same error. So let's just add a debugger here also. Let's click on save all. Now, right? So what are the records we had? EMP1 and password is 112233. So EMP1 password is 112233. On click of login, so you can see login function get called. If you see the login object, remaining fields are empty, just username and password is there. Now if I continue, I will get the debugger over here. But why I have not got the debugger? Something is error is there, bad request. So now if you can see, bad request is there because if you see here, result is also in single quote, right? What it has told us, I mean the error it has sent back, that is boolean and in 32 means for result and the user ID. So that's why, because it is there integer and the boolean, and we have sent 0 empty means string data. So we just need to make it false. The basic validation, right? Because on the backend side means API side, we have the user ID data type as integer, and here from here we had sent that empty means string data, same as here also. So I have just corrected that. Let's save and check it again. What was one 112233 on click of login. So now object is correct, result is having boolean value and user ID is having 0 value. Let's continue. Now we have got the debugger. Whatever the object we have sent from there, you can see. Right now, F10, F10. So now if you see the is user exist, we have got the data. See user ID we have got. Because when we have hit the API, we have sent the user ID 0. But now here we have got the data. Right? Because user ID and password, username and password was correct, whatever we have sent. So that's why it has got the data. So it will go into the if condition because it is not equal to null. And we are sending result property as true and message also. Continue. Then we will have our subscribe form. So here you can see everything is in small case. That is the same check we have added because response dot result is true. So it will execute the if block. First, it will show the message, login success, then it will redirect. See, it has redirected. Now, let's try to put the wrong password. Now, if we have the EMP1, let's enter something. On click of login, now the password we have sent is something else. Password is not correct. You can see this is not the password we have. Continue. Now see what we have get. Now, in this user table, we don't have any record with username this and password this. We don't have any record, right? So here we will get none. So now what the if statement is, if user exists, it equal to not null because it is null. So now it will go to the else block. And in else block, what we have done, result we are making false, and in the message we are setting that username and something is wrong. If we continue on the front end side, we have also added that check. Now response dot result. From the API side, we have got result as false. Now it will go to the else block. And in else block, we are just showing the message. That's it. So this is how login and registration part work. Again, more to this when we write the actual API. So we have to create the token also. In coming videos, we will be trying to create the token also. With the login, once the user is success, means the login is success, we have to create a token also. And that token we need to send. JWT token we create or identity token we create. There are multiple tokens we can create, but mostly everyone will go for the JWT. Right. So this is the exact part of .NET side and the Angular side, how we create the registration and the login page. Hope you are getting all this, what I'm trying to explain. In next video, we will be seeing filtering, like how do we filter, right? How do we insert multiple data in a single API? What are the APIs we have seen here is like in one API, we are inserting data into one table only. But from one API, we can insert data to multiple table also. That we will be seeing in the coming videos.